MONBASA MVITA, Religion and Aliens. Religion has been at the core of the behavior, of the culture, of the development of mankind. It is said that in our primitive stage, we would worship things, relating them to the daily events. So some rocks will be given the purpose of guiding us. We will look at the sun and wonder, it gives us light. At least many were right in that perspective. The storm and everything, people had different opinions. But as time developed, went by, you find that there was a lot of influence by external bodies, external entities that shaped our religions. We can start with Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, at first, I used to think was the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates, but as I looked at the map of Mesopotamia geographically, I realized Egypt was in it. So in Mesopotamia is where religion began in earnest, and people would use the ziggurat, the great ziggurat, for worship. That is now in the present Iraq. People from the western part of the world call it Iraq, but we call it Iraq. Eventually, other people from different places had different beliefs in different things, but you find that wherever they were basing their religion on external entities. They talked of gods who would ride up in the sky and come down on land. They talked of gods who were moving like a thundering cloud. And they had all those things designed together. As I was looking at the list of aliens based on abductions, based on, they said, whistleblowers, based on people who have got esoteric knowledge. They were people from about 4 different, is it planets or stellar systems, that influenced our religion. We have the Anunnaki influencing our religion. We have the angels influencing our religion. We have the gods like Indra. We have the gods like Krishna. We had entities like Buddha. But you will always find that attached to each belief, they were external entities. Birth of Jesus and conception was announced by external entities, angels. Angels appear to be a group of entities from the external world. They are aliens. Where the war was fought, others say when Yahweh, that is, angels rebelled, when Jupiter, angels rebelled, when Thor, who is in heaven, had this army of warriors, they would come and go. And every time they came and went, they touched us in a special way. The revelation to Muhammad that is a prophet was done by an angel. So you find there were entities that came from external areas. But mostly the God experience was given by entities from about 3 to 4 stellar systems interactions. Some of the aliens that interacted with the people in Asia did not interact with the people in the other side. For instance now, our religions are best known from the eastern part, but the greatest influence is from the western part. Why am I saying this? I'm saying that now the Western civilization grew up in a religion that was purportedly Jewish from the Middle East. But when you observe things, you realize that they grew up on things that were related to the Vikings. In my past videos, I've given those examples. Presently, people say there are entities from other stellar systems, or those who have interacted with people on Earth. There are others, they call them the Nordics. We have Norway. Interesting that we have people who resemble the same people from Norway. They have called others, their likeliness is like those of the Swedes. And there were others who are just white blondes. There were others who had red hair. And now when you look at the history of the Roman kingdom, you are told the Romans immigrated from the present Middle East and Greece and ended up where they were. When they moved, they thought they were an advanced civilization, only to find an advanced civilization good in metallurgy called Etruscans. If you track Etruscans, you will end up the Viking origin. So there was an influence of the Viking entities, Nordic type of entities, influencing the European side. There were these other entities that influenced this side. Africa had its own entities. And then we come to the pharaohs, who had a lineage with the sun god and other gods. And they had their ideas of entities from outside who guided the world, who helped in our day-to-day living. All the religions we have now have grown up featuring external entities. When the main religion started building up, that's when there was some of the filtering, some of the sieving of the things that they had, so that it was made narrow, so that the external influence could not appear visible. I talked of the Christian books, what was removed and what was left. We talked of the religions from Mesopotamia that influenced the flood. We talked of religions from Ethiopia that influenced the present Bible. We talked of religions in Iran, like Zoroastrianism, that influenced the rest of the world. Even the reasoning was influenced along those lines. In all these religions, there are mention of angels, archangels. We used to think that angels and archangels were the same. But if you go to the other books, like the ones that the famous people like Solomon would use, the books to do with magic, I had their name in the past videos, you can be able to look at those. You find that archangels were different entities. Angels were different entities. Demons were different entities. Genies were different entities. So this was an interaction of different entities. I sometimes wonder, why is it that when you talk of the human program, you talk of the genie? The human gene, the genotype, the genie in you. So, looks like external entities influenced our religion, but they influenced it for control. So that certain entities who could be able to communicate to them through telepathy, through prayers, will have control, sometimes to exact what they wanted. They had many promises, but that issue was you had to worship that above you. It is something that we have continued with today. Some people have been robbed of their money. Some people have been robbed of their personality and freedom. Because literally what you do, if I am the one heading you, you worship me. But you worship me in the name of worshiping God. So I'm worshiping God, but you are subordinate to me. So whatever I tell you, you have to do to me. So the worshiping begins with that representative that is above you. He comes to you, you're trembling. So and so has come. I have to do this. And where is he getting the orders? From the others above. Subservient. That subservient nature has helped entities from outside, those that keep coming, and entities that impact on us from long distances. Like I told you, there are others who can be able to drive us with their mental status. That's why you have been seeing people doing, is it called remote viewing? Remote viewing is the ability to direct your mind, to observe far entities. It's happening. Remote viewing. So the entities that were there directed us with certain purposes, gave us behaviors with certain purposes, would order annihilation of disobedient humans with certain purposes. And as people started becoming brighter, others diverted and restricted the thinking. That's why you are told it's better to be taken a fool. The foolishness in faith is greater than the being reasonable in the world. Those things we have done and we have been told and we have believed in. We are told when Adam and Eve ate the fruit, they did a very bad thing. But then again, at the bottom of it, you are told their eyes were open. But that's what is not supposed to happen to you. So you are subservient. But now as the world has changed, most of the people have started knowing that these things happened. And they happened for a purpose, for programs to lead us to certain entities. I looked at the Maya religion, And when we are talking about Maya religion and human sacrifice, we talked they would have flower wars. And what were flower wars for? They would fight, killing one another to provide food for the gods. Food for the gods. So food for the gods were these people who were being killed. They were being used for a certain purpose which they could not grasp. But also in the process, because entities, sometimes when you get the spirits and the souls of certain entities, they are able to influence nature. And sometimes they would make their demands and influence nature. But what they kept depriving from the human being was the ability of knowing the self-enablement. That is what is attained by faith. Many of the things that have been achieved through those purposes, if you have faith strong enough, like the Bible says, like many other books say, you are able to move everything because there is a soul that exists in you. You've never known the power it possesses because we never use it. We have been told to be subservient. So we have subservient spirits in us. But if you let go and take faith in the capabilities that have been put within you, you can do great and mighty things. Because that enablement that was put in us as we were engineered makes us have great abilities to do things. That's why you find some people working in magic, some people working with spirits. Mostly the subservient spirits are enslaved and eventually they end up working for people. Whereas your very spirit, your very soul, can perform greater things than you can ever imagine. So I've talked of aliens and religion, but the main purpose of putting this thing across is to empower you, because the very word says you are the temple of the Lord. Loosen up, open your internal abilities, and you will do extraordinary things out there. The power is locked within you. Within you. Open up to nature. Open up to the power above or from the universe. Keep in touch and open up your very soul, your very spirit. You will do things beyond what you can comprehend. Because in many of the things you have done, you've been restricted. Pick your freedom. Move with faith. You are greater than you ever imagined. You can do much more than you ever imagined. You are empowered by God. And if we go to the Bible, it says, when Jesus was talking to the disciples, when I have gone, you will do greater things than I have done. And I will make you gods. I will make you gods. Not that you will be worshipped, but you will have abilities to do things beyond what one can imagine. You have the power of a God in you, interacting with the main God. You are more powerful than you think you are. You are more capable than you think you are. Just have your faith. Though different entities brought us religion, others empowered us, but others brought that religion, had scripts for the sake of suppressing us, for the sake of using, sometimes misusing us. That's why even the Bible, even the Quran, always talks about Your faith, Buddhism, faith, Hinduism, faith. Faith, take up your faith. You are greater than you are. That is my take for now.